So I'm back now. I got my first, can't think right now. My first stop done. I know I have at least one more that I really need to do, that I need to not postpone. Traffic in all directions at me. This is awesome. Coming behind this big semi truck and one on my tail here. So yeah. And now here's for the fun part. Well, at least gas is somewhat cheap. I'm telling people to get gas as much as you can on top of these things instead of worrying about when it's 20 to 25 cents more expensive later on. But anyhow, I'm actually going to go the right way to my destination today. I've done that a couple times wrong. But yeah, I've just been trying to, I guess you could say meet people in a way. More of getting to know people. I know of them, even if I don't know their names or whatever, trying to get all that kind of stuff done. Trying to make some progress there. Got a turner here, okay, awesome. I want to turn a little quicker, but you know, that's how you do. Yeah, so just been trying to talk to people, you know, get to know them a little bit more, get something out of conversations with people instead of just nonsense that to me is, I feel like it's just dumbing down. It's like accepting, I can't think of my words here, excuse me. Like you're accepting the lack of good social skills and whatnot, the lack of like actual real conversation and learning. And you know, there's a lot of people that I don't feel like have good enough social skills, whether they're busy on their phones or they're on their video games all the time or whatever. It's like once you're in around people, at least try. Like I understand there's people and whatnot that are gonna annoy and whatnot. I deal with them every day. I deal with a lot of them in my mind where it's just, oh, people are gonna be so annoying today, or they're not gonna listen to me, or they're not gonna understand. It's like all you can do is just keep on going, and you can't really just give up on all these things just because you're in a bad mood or someone's in a bad mood. You just keep going, and the more you get done, the more you feel accomplished, the better you're gonna feel as well. I can definitely say that. That's always been the situation for me. I've done things that I didn't think I would do before, or people didn't think I'd ever do, maybe. And I've set goals and made them happen. I have a lot more goals that I'd like to make happen, especially this year. I would say this year is going to be a pretty huge year, if at all possible, which I do believe is going to be definitely possible. Get as much done as I can and enjoy this year. I know last year was pretty enjoyable. It was very busy, but I got on a pretty good track. Whether I agree with the track that I was necessarily on or not, that's, you know, debatable. But at least I've made quite a bit of progress in the last year. I got to be around a lot more people last year, and that kind of thing. Because for a long time I wasn't really around too many people, and then the people I was around, didn't really get to see a whole lot this year and whatnot. Whether that's, you know, how much that's my fault, I'm not sure. I've put in some effort trying to talk to people and whatnot, and for one reason or another there's a disconnect. There's a lot of people that live decently far enough away from me that it becomes an issue where one of us can't get to the other. I think a lot of people, they basically live online. That's limits their social interaction, I guess, which is kind of embarrassing, but either way, I don't do all that stuff very often, so it's very difficult to communicate with a lot of people, even your friends and stuff. And I know a lot of people, they're not going to agree with me or understand this or that on certain things I have to say. And it's just one of those things that the information that I have is good enough and important enough where I don't worry about the negative criticism or whatever phrasing you want to use for it. You know, my friends and whatnot, they just... Sorry, pal. I just figured he was going, so I was gonna go. My bad. Oh, I hate that place. I hate that area. Didn't know he was going, but oh well. So, yeah, that's another thing when you're driving. It's always an issue with traffic. Always an issue of someone or another. Heck yeah, we got people out here actually running out in the cold and whatnot. Hopefully I don't catch a cold and whatnot. I always kind of like being out in the cold area when I was walking and whatnot. It's just one of those things where you don't want to get too affected by the weather and whatnot, all the nonsense. But yeah, a lot of disconnect with people. I've said it for a long time that I was going to socially make things a lot better, a lot different. Talk to a lot of people I haven't in years. Hopefully get some decent responses. It's like the longer you go without being around someone, sometimes they're just like, oh, well, I lived without you this long. It's like, that's a very, very wrong way to look at things. I know I've had that a couple times, and it's just like, well, I guess this isn't meant to be, so on to the next. Frankly, a lot of those people, they either had stuff going on that later on we figured out was affecting them, and I've always tried to be the person where, you know, if you have something going on, let me know and I'll help you somehow. You know, I try to help even when people don't say that, so whether that's annoying or wrong or whatever, I still do it, and I don't care. So, and I'll continue to do it, and not care about, you know, the criticism or, you know, the second guessing. Because a lot of life, people are just second guessing themselves, or they're not thinking or whatnot. It's like, well, I'm gonna think, and I'm gonna do within reason what I plan to do. It's easy to be lazy. It's easy to do all this and that. That's why I like to do things that are difficult, in a sense. I don't mind a challenge. I don't mind the confrontation. I don't mind any of it. Bring it all on. And I don't know how many people are like that. Frankly, you get in a position where you're around the same people so long, and you only know the people that you know, and the people that you meet, you only know a little bit about, and it's rush all the time. You meet someone, you can't have a 5-minute conversation with them because you're busy doing something else, or they're busy doing something else, so they can't even focus on the conversation. I can focus on the conversation and do 5 or 6 other things, and that's another thing people don't understand, that when you're capable of doing that kind of thing, they get upset and whatnot, which, I mean, it is what it is. Personally, if I'm talking to someone, whether it's on a phone call or whatever, I'm perfectly capable of doing plenty of other things. I try my best to engage conversation, start conversations. A lot of them lead to nothing, but I seep in my information and, you know, just common sense things, and hopefully that's stored in their mind and they'll come back to it at a given time when it is necessary. sometimes you're just in conversation, whether it's by phone or whatever. Especially by phone, a lot of times I just feel like people are just kind of ignoring, or they tune out, and they're just like, yep. And then you ask them something, and, or they'll ask you something that you just told them, or vice versa. I'm not going to say that I don't tune out every now and then for a few seconds and miss something, but, I'm actively listening to people on the phone. I don't just turn the phone on and say, oh, let's just turn the phone on and have a quote-unquote conversation. That's not life. That's not reality. People should be talking to each other. That's what we are here to do, to interact with each other. Whether we like each other or whatever all the time, or we like someone's attitude that day, or we like our attitude that day, you make the most out of it, and you go and do your stuff. It's slightly frustrating. I've been in all kinds of different situations and time periods in my life of not talking to people and talking to people in one way or another. It's a problem. It's like, you know what? The more of a pain things are, they are what they are. And I've said for many, many years, whether I've been consistent or not, I've pretty much had very similar mindsets for very many years, going on 5-6 years. And when you're around people that they don't really communicate well, or they don't reciprocate, or they're too young, or they're too immature, or whatever, it's just one of those difficult situations, especially when I first started working and whatnot. It was the whole situation of I hadn't really been around too many people, and these people had been. They'd been in school, they'd been in whatever social stuff that they've done, and that wasn't a life I was living. The life I was living was work, go home, sleep, repeat for the most part. And these are just places where anyone pretty much can just go in and find work and whatnot. I've worked in a lot of places where it's not real difficult to get in. Jobs really aren't that difficult. In general, I don't think most jobs I've ever done, or most tasks I've ever done, really one challenged me. A lot of them are just busy work, but different subject for a different day. Awesome. And so, you're just doing what you're doing, you know how to do it, and you try to do the best you can at work and socially with people, and it's very rare for me to ever get even a slight bit of interest out of too many people. There's the whole thing of, I've definitely realized that people act differently around different people, and when they're in a group and when they're not. I certainly like to talk one-on-one with people a lot more than in groups, because it's always, let's change the conversation, or let's get distracted, or let's bring up some nonsense, let's see who can make who laugh, or, get someone to react here and there. I don't understand people much anymore. Like I said, back in the day, I shouldn't say back in the day, but let's go back 5-6 years here. And I was pretty out of touch with a lot of things, but, I was in touch enough to get by, which I pretty much still am. I know how to socialize with people, this and that. I know about their technologies and all this, that they sit around and do nothing. They sit around on their phones or whatever, and that's their contact with people, I guess. I like a good phone call as much as the next person, but there's so much nonsense and wasted time in life that people just throw away. It's like, you're given time, use it. But yeah, the type of people that they can't put their phones down when they're working, or they don't know when to speed things up or slow things down, or when to communicate, when not to communicate, how to communicate, that kind of deal. And, you know, I've always tried to help people the most I could, and a lot of times I feel like I don't even get much out of it, but I don't look for people to look at me as this or that, or whatnot. So I just kind of do my thing. That's what I've been doing. And I expect the worst of a lot of things. I expect, you know, a lot of nonsense. And I've had a lot of nonsense, beyond comprehension nonsense, that I've had to get away from. And it was better for my health, physically, mentally, all of it. It's just better to get away from a situation, even when you know you're not the problem. That's always the nice part about it. And you're just doing what you know is right, and the majority of people, they don't do anything. Like, they don't do the right thing. They're like desensitized to so much nonsense. Frankly, a lot of stupidity, a lot of wasting of time, which is exactly what people are programmed to do that are on the computers and the video games and the radio and all that stuff all the time. You know, I realize that I probably sounded pretty old there, but it is what it is. I meant in the sense of no matter where you're around nonsense. If you're in the car, you're listening to the radio or your phone. If you're on a phone call with probably people who also are involved with that kind of nonsense. So you don't have to directly be around nonsense to get nonsense, to catch my drift, because people got that covered for you. They get it stuck in their heads and they repeat what they hear. They think they know things, they don't listen to you, type of thing. And also, if you haven't realized, I have a bad habit of saying you a lot, not directing at a certain person. I mean a person in a situation. And yes, that does come up quite often with people. When I'm talking to people, I'll say, well, you know, I was, you know, I'll try to teach them something, and I'll say, well, whether it's like a quote or whatever, and then they get lost. So there's a lot of reasoning for that, but I try to talk the best I can. Right here, I'm just kind of monologuing and just kind of talking, and it's not bad. And I'm getting text messages while I'm driving, so that's awesome. It's getting kind of dark out here. But yeah, I think I pretty much covered, in short, a lot of that kind of stuff. Hoping some people will check out my video here. Probably be at least half hour, 40 minutes long. It's funny because when I was young, people always thought, oh, he's the quiet one, he doesn't talk or anything. It's like, well, first of all, when you're in school and whatnot, there's only like 5-10 people who actually get to talk. They're the ones who hog everything, whether they're good people or not. They just want to hog everything, whether they know it or not. And then once that's set from a young age, they don't stop, and they look down on people who aren't like that. And it's like, no, it's actually not like that. And a lot of times it's not like when everyone else is in class and whatnot, they just want to get in, get out type thing, which I understand, especially at a young age. And the other people are trying to have fun or whatnot. Really all they're doing is nonsense, wasting time. Yeah, that never really worked out for me. Every time I tried to do it, my teachers would always say, you know, they'd have a fit on me. And it's like, well, you know, you caught me. I was trying to avoid things and probably not look too cool. But at least I admit that I am imperfect and I don't do things all the time right. That'll get you pretty far in life too, I'll tell you that. It's always the understanding of the balance between knowing when to do things and when not to do things, when to say things, when not to say things. Because a lot of people, they'll look at you a certain way or whatnot. which I don't agree with. I try my best not to. So I'm always telling people of all ages, this is something you can improve at, because people will look at you differently because of this, which I don't agree with, but they do what they do. And unfortunately, a lot of things in life do, I don't want to say necessarily require, but get a lot more enjoyment out of with people than without. I spent a lot of time to myself, done a lot of learning, a lot of thinking. Try to journal your thoughts. Keep that kind of stuff to yourself. Another thing is, I'm very private about a lot of things, where I don't tell a lot of people a lot of things, and I kind of feel like I tell people too much as it is, so I kind of beat around the bush on a lot of different things, and I'm pretty long-winded, so that's pretty much what people get with me. But it's really not a big deal that I don't tell a lot of people a lot of different things. I always kind of looked at those type of people as smarter, not as weird or whatnot. Like when you meet someone, they're not going to tell you their life story unless they're just a really talkative person or whatnot, or given the opportunity. But like I said, most situations people are in, they don't know how to react. They don't, first of all, it's just so rush. It's, you're in school, oh, you're busy with school, or someone's holding the conversations, or you're at work, same difference. Should say same thing, not same difference. Let's see, school, work, things at home, depending on how many people are living with you or whatnot. There's that whole dynamic where if you have brothers or sisters, any family that lives with you, whether you're younger or you're in your 20s, 30s, older, I think you'll pretty much understand this to a degree. Like I said, people are just better generally one-on-one. It's just, I noticed that many years ago, and it still holds true. I don't think it's ever going to really change. I wait for people to change a little bit by little. Can't ask for too much, but I keep doing things and I expect to be looked down upon. So that's pretty much how it goes. But all you can do is what you know is right. You know something's right even if no one else is doing it. At least you know you're doing it, and other people know you're doing it. Well, got a flasher here. Got some light flashing. Hopefully there's no deer out or something here. I actually almost slid into a deer the other day, a while back. The thing about me is I'm driving at all hours of the night sometime. It's actually fairly early. Oh, we got another flasher here. Okay, awesome. Definitely something going on here. That's nice of people to hopefully let me know what's going on. I like to see people courtesy and whatnot. You go to the store and you tell workers and whatnot, you say, oh, thank you for your help and whatnot. Well, what did I help you with? Well, you're working, you're helping, whether you're stocking shelves or taking orders or whatever you're doing. The little things matter, and like I said, it's not that hard to make conversation with people. If you're scared of it, the only way you get over fears is to deal with them. I wouldn't say I really have fear of a whole lot of things. I'd say that maybe an anxious type of mindset where you're either in a rush all the time, which mentally I do that to myself. I don't know that. You can call it whatever you want. A lot of it I do on myself because, like today, I wanted to do about 10 things, and I did about 4 or 5 of them. And my last stop was one of them. That's where I'm heading now, is another one that I wanted to do. And then the thing about me is when I have plans, I also make a lot of other plans. I set up plans and whatnot. So I might have plans with my one buddy tomorrow, which that'd be kind of interesting if we could get some recording with him. Another thing is with this whole talking and whatnot, I'm hoping I can do it for a while, because a lot of times when I try to focus on making videos or whatever, but yeah, I'll definitely go into detail about making videos and that kind of thing, why I do what I do and whatnot. Not even sure how many people really even care what I have to say, but I say it anyways. The thing that I was going to say was I want to get people to just monologue. I think it's good for mostly just, you could say, for their health, you know, whether they don't talk much, they can work on how they communicate in their speaking. That would be a good exercise for them. I am interested to hear what people have to say. I'm a person that likes to have, I kind of like the noise in a sense. I like to hear people talk and whatnot. I actually kind of like listening to people monologue and stuff more than I kind of like talking to a lot of people. Because there's a lot when you're in conversation. There's a lot with, you know, responding, not responding, body language, different things. I don't see a lot of people making eye contact anymore. That's something I learned real young. It's like when you're talking to someone, it's important to make eye contact. Good body language is good. I don't really take too much from things. I mean, a lot of people, they just take things the wrong way. I know when I'm relaxed or whatever, I'm talking to someone, I'll cross my arms. And that's the whole thing where, you know, they'll say psychologically when your arms are crossed or whatever, and you're at a, you know, kind of like a resting kind of mindset. Not a mindset, but I do that a lot when I'm focused. Oh, excuse me. And I don't want people to think, well, he's not interested in the conversation because his arms are folded, or he's not staring me in the eyes or whatever. But yeah, I try my best when I'm talking to someone, make eye contact with them. I also don't hold it against people that don't all the time. Yeah. There's some people that they have their reasons why they're not making contact or what have you. Cars behind me, I hope not. Don't think so. Awesome. Make my way because everyone's at red lights. Yeah, there's some people that, whether they don't understand the whole eye contact thing, or they're busy in their own mind, or, you know, there's a lot of times where I've been busy and whatnot. If I'm working or something, don't expect me to have perfect eye contact all the time. I remember when I was younger, people were like, you just don't make eye contact with people. Well, first of all, that's somewhat true. I will say that. I'm not going to act like I make eye contact all the time. Awesome. This is my turn. I don't even know exactly where my turn is there. Because everything has to change. You have to change where to turn, and where to go here. Let's see if I can go around here. This isn't going to get me anywhere, but sure, I will turn here. Awesome. Likely, I'll just turn back around is what I'll do. That's another thing with driving and whatnot. For anyone who is just driving or whatever, just learning how to drive, don't worry about missing a turn or whatever, because you can always either turn back around or something else will connect to it. Main thing is, stay calm. I don't believe this is a one-way, so I'm gonna go. most definitely is not a one-way. Yeah, I've wanted to get a lot of stuff out with videos and plans and getting together with people, especially people that are out of town now that I grew up with, that kind of thing. Because I've pretty much been in the same thing for a good portion of time, and I think I'm kind of ready to expand on some things here. Let's see, I think this might be the turn, I guess. No, it's not. I don't know how to get over there. Whatever that just was. I mean, you can connect through here. I don't know if that's the right way to do it, but that's how I'm doing it. Yeah, there's a lot of things on my to-do list. See if I can make any of them happen. You know what? Whatever. I'll just walk. I'm tired of this. So, yeah, that should end this for now. And hopefully come back while I'm still thinking, because I'm all over the place. And I've got my own plenty of things going on and thinking-wise. Trying to remember things and whatnot. So, I shall be back pretty soon. Thank you very much.